And we walk in, and the first thing I say is, we're here. We're celebrating, right? And they look, they're like, what are you celebrating? I said, you know what? Hard work. We just got done doing all this hard work, and we feel good about our ability to tear some things down, put them on the trucks, and begin to move them. And the lady, the manager,
rose up.
She rose up.
It became contagious.
Yeah.
Our excitement, our what's the word I'm looking for? Our
joy.
It was contagious. Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And today we want to talk to you about celebrating your freedom, the spectacular opportunities that are in front of you, and not go back to sleep.
Life is spectacular. I love that word, Ron, because it really is. Even if you're still incarcerated, you have so much opportunity to celebrate the freedoms that you do have. The freedom to be free from addiction, the freedom to be free from the drama, to set a new course for your life, to build a new foundation. And as you transition, as you work towards stepping on the other side of that gate, learning to celebrate your freedom across a lifetime is a priceless gift.
You know, not forgetting the opportunities that are in front of you. Embracing them. You know, there's going to be heartache, there's going to be pain, there's going to be suffering. This is going to be a challenge for you when you re-enter society. But in a relationship with your family, look, this is meant to be a celebration. Win each and every day of your freedom. Because now you're at a place in your mindset where you're not going to take it for what? For granted. You're going to embrace every moment, every second of every day. And you're going to see every opportunity that is in front of you as a once-in-a-lifetime chance.
But you grab a hold of it, right? Because it's very easy to fall back asleep. We all say when something happens, you know what? I will never take life for granted again. I'll never take this man for granted again. I'll never, fill in the blank. And then over time, we fall back asleep, we become complacent again, and it's really easy to let bitterness and distraction and heaviness steal our joy. So you have to fight for it, and it's worth fighting for.
That means when you wake up every morning, you got to be conscious in what you're about ready to do, what you're about to take on. Because in this sense of freedom, you have to celebrate it. People won't understand your joy. People aren't going to understand what you experience.
Okay.
And that is okay. And that's part of the joy. They don't get it, but you get it. And that's what matters. As long as you stay focused, you stay conscious. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How do you celebrate even the mundane days in your life? And how do you celebrate where there is no such thing as a mundane day in your life?
Right? A mundane day. I like that.
Right?
You're going to adopt an attitude of gratitude. And it doesn't matter what the challenges are, because you're going to face challenges. There's going to be glitches. If there are going to be days it's going to be harder to remember to celebrate. But then there are other days where it just comes natural. So we're going to talk about that and how to hang on to that attitude of gratitude, how to celebrate the freedoms that you do have, and how to leverage them and take advantage of them.
And how to celebrate that type of attitude and mentality with others, where it doesn't come across as if you're being too aggressive or you're being arrogant.
Oh, baby, anybody ever accused you of being aggressive?
You know what? Because life is worth fighting for. Life is worth having. And so stay tuned. You don't want to miss this episode. It will put a smile on your face. Welcome back to TYRO TV. Today we're talking about celebrating your freedom, but more importantly, a spectacular life and not being apologetic about it.
Oh, that is such a good word. And the reason I say that is because everywhere I take Ron, like there's this new joy about experiencing even the small things that he didn't get to experience while he was in prison. And you've been home for 17 years, and you've fought to hang on to that. And sometimes people despise that because it challenges their complacency, but that's okay.
The little boy, if you will, right? seeing something for the first time. Now I'm 57 years old, but
you are not a little boy.
Right. And I'm not a little boy, but experiencing it with that mindset. Wow. You know, I still enjoy looking up and seeing how this huge 747 is not falling out of the sky, but flying over, right? Us, and we look up.
Awe of that technology.
It's amazing. Life is meant to be amazing, not to be dogma, not to be chains upon you, not to put you in a place of where you're just crawling along. But no, we skip through life. We dance through life, right? And we have fun through life, because why? Life is meant to be spectacular.
So we went in, we did a lot of work yesterday. We were tearing down, we were moving some things. We had a crew of people with us. And so we get done, we said, okay, you know what? We're going to stop by and we're going to get some ice cream and a sandwich. So we walk into the restaurant. It's about 9:15. The restaurant closes at 10. And we walk in, and the first thing that I say is, we're here. We're celebrating, right? And they look, and they're like, what are you celebrating? I said, you know what? Hard work. We just got done doing all this hard work, and we feel good about our ability to tear some things down, put them on the trucks, and begin to move them. And the lady, the manager,
rose up.
She rose up.
It became contagious.
Yeah.
Our excitement, our what's the word I'm looking for? Our
joy.
It was contagious, and so she perked up. Right? Because it was almost closing time.
And she made sure our experience was spectacular. She made sure the food was cooked just right. She's like, you know what? If you're going to celebrate, we're going to make this a wonderful celebration. And it was incredible. Now, we could have gone in and we could have been like, you know, frustrated and angry because it took us twice as long as what we thought to tear things down and load them up. And we could have gone in there and we could have been nitpicky about the food. And we could have drugged down her night, and she could have closed on a sour note. But instead, we made a choice and a decision, even in the midst of the work, that, you know what, this is a challenge. And it's not going the way that we thought, but this is still a great opportunity because we're all together. We're working of one mind, one accord.
You know, I enjoy going into Menards or Lowe's or places of that nature where I say out loud, I'm home, right? And the attendants may look at me like, what the... Right? But they don't get it, right? There's a time.
Suck it home.
Well, there was a time in our life that, we couldn't afford to go into those places.
Right.
Right? And I had no desire to buy a screwdriver or tools because I was too lazy, right? I didn't want to fix anything.
Or you were incarcerated and unable to go.
Yeah. So now everywhere we go, guess what? When we open the door, we open it as if we own it.
We've got a brand new experience.
Right?
I remember when Ron first came home and we would go to Walmart or we would go anywhere, and his favorite things to pile in the cart were toilet paper, socks, and underwear.
Toilet paper, socks, and underwear. Woo! Remember that, fellas.
Yeah, toilet paper, socks, and underwear. And I was like, wow. Like every time we went to the store, like the cart, and he's like, hey, toilet paper's on sale. Hey, these socks are on sale. Hey, these underwear are on sale. And it was but it brought so much joy for him. And so, you know, when the whole toilet paper crisis happened, it didn't affect us because we had already been stockpiling toilet paper.
And those people who were laughing at us or at me because I was stockpiling it, right?
Called and said, hey, do you got a couple extra rolls?
I said 2 for 1.
That's not true.
Right.
That's
2
not
for
true.
1, baby.
It was help yourself. We're spreading contagious joy. But, you know, really celebrating those small things because we still celebrate like, wow. And I was like, wow, look at this. I've got 12 pairs of socks and I can still go to the store and buy a new pair of socks if I want. No longer contained. But also, you know, looking at spreading that joy, celebrating the freedoms we do have. Even while Ron was in prison. I remember the experiences in the prison visiting room where we would just intentionally celebrate our family coming together and not taking that for granted.
That word that Cathy said, intentional. In other words, we said it out loud. Listen, this is a visit. We only get 3 hours. We only get 4 hours, right? And they're going to tell us in 4 hours, it's time to go.
And this isn't where we want to be, spending our family time together, but...
Well, let's make the best of it. Let's find something to do that brings joy, and let's create a great memory. Let's create a great experience in this dark place. Right?
And so finding those opportunities to celebrate our freedom is really important. So whether you're incarcerated, whether you're out on the streets, wherever you are, you know, don't see everything as a prison. You can't see your job as a prison. You can't see your family as a prison. You can't see, you know, oh, I have to go to the grocery store. Oh, I have to do this. And I've got all these demands on my time. Well, what do you want to spend your time on? You know, of course you have to go to the grocery store. Of course you've got to go shopping, but make it a celebration that you get to. You get to choose what you eat. You get to choose who you're spending time with. My goodness, celebrate the freedoms you have.
Celebrate that you get to pay a water bill. You get to pay an internet bill. These things here are part of the luxuries of life, but the people that we work with complain each and every day of these privileges that have been awarded to us instead of embracing them and saying, you know what? I'm not going to be late on my electricity bill. I'm excited that I have a great job that is giving me the earnings or the money that I can pay my bills. And I could, at the end of every month, say I am what? Debt free.
Well, yeah,
mostly.
All right. So when we come back, we're going to talk more about why it's so important to celebrate your freedom. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. Today we're talking about celebrating your freedom, the spectacular life that you've been given.
That you get to live every day, regardless of where you are. Your surroundings do not dictate your joy. Your joy is inside of you. Your joy is actually dictated by your attitude. And I know that we hear that a lot and it can sound cliche, but it's truth. You need to begin to practice the celebration of the freedoms you do have, because you do have a choice.
You know, he who is faithful in the littlest things will be faithful in the bigger things. You know, right now you might find yourself in the day room. Maybe you're watching this on a tablet. Maybe you're in a cell. Maybe you're in a place and you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're mad at the world for where you're at. But the truth is, the choices that you made landed you right where you're at today. But once you begin to embrace the choices that you made that landed you right today, now you can overcome that type of heartache and pain. You can embrace the experience and you begin to see the joy that's around you, the opportunities, right? I remember coming on a visit when Cathy's coming to see me, and I'd been working out really religiously, right, for like 6-9 months straight. And so I was pretty fit and pretty trim, right? And I was pretty. Right?
You're still pretty,
right?
baby.
So I go out to the visit and I'm buffed and I just did some push-ups and I got a white t-shirt on and I walk out there and Cathy kind of like put me in my place, right? But it was like, oh, you in a fitness center? And when I think about that, I was in a fitness center. I was in a fitness center for my mental. I was in a fitness center for my spiritual and my emotional awakening, right? And yes, my physical. A lot of times when men first go to prison, or even women, I think, right? The first thing we do is we work on our physical appearance. We start to lose weight. We start to work out. But what gets pushed to the back burner is our mental, emotional, and spiritual growth, right? But here's a spectacular way of looking at life. You get to work on you everywhere, right?
That's right. And the culture you're setting, because as I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, I'm out here struggling, and I'm out here and I'm feeling all the pain and the grief of the separation and the breakdown of my family. And I'm struggling watching my kids out here in society without their dad. And seeing Ron thinking, wow, he's in prison and he's making the best of it. And he's choosing to still celebrate the freedoms he does have. Like, really challenged me in the way that I was thinking. Like, wow, you know what? I do have opportunity. I do still have choice. Do I have choice over everything? No. But I need to exercise the places where I do have the freedom of choice. I need to do that and celebrate it. I have the choice to be happy or sad, bitter or happy.
You know, I want to share a story, Cathy, that you shared a story with me at a prison visiting room. And it really helped us come to a place of celebrating life. You know, because I was sad and I'm
understanding the importance of it.
And this is so powerful. So Brandon was, I don't know how old he was, maybe 5?
Oh, gosh, I think he was 3.
3 years old. And so he's sitting in my chair, right? Right, dads? We all have our own chair at the house. And
at home, right? Ron's in prison, and we're home.
So go ahead and tell the story, honey, really, because you witnessed it. I want to make sure that this message is conveyed.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we had gone to go see Ron, and as I was saying before, like I was so bitter. I was so angry. I was so filled with grief and hopelessness just at the disintegration of our family, and saying, wow, you know, are we gonna make it? Here Ron is sitting in prison. Here I am with my boys, and I don't know what to do. And so everything was clouded by this unhappiness. So we go see Ron, we come home, and I'm making dinner, and there's Brandon. He's all wrapped up in a blanket, and he's cuddled up in Ron's chair that Ron usually sat in the living room. And he's laughing and talking. He's like 3.5 years old. And I was like, Brandon, what are you doing? And then he says, I'm pretending that Daddy's home, and I'm sitting on his lap. And you know what, Mommy? We're having so much fun that we don't have time to be angry anymore. And it struck me. I was like, oh my goodness. I have been spending so much time being angry that I haven't left any time to be happy or joyful anymore. And I remember just standing there because it was like a slap in my face. And he didn't mean it that way, but I heard his pain. I heard what he was saying. And I decided in that moment, you know what? I have to celebrate the freedom that I do have to create joy in their lives, to leverage the fact that we still have each other. We still have opportunities to build something and to celebrate life around us.
Now, we were still poor.
Oh, goodness,
right?
yes. Very,
our circumstances did not change,
that's right,
but our mindset did.
Attitude
and so
did.
we want to encourage you that, yes, it's tough. Yes, it's dark. It's hard. And, you know, you're being told when to go to bed. You're being told when to shower. All these rules that are not implemented as you as an adult. But when you begin to really understand the processes that you're embracing and you're growing and you're learning, and then when you hit the streets and you're re-entering society, guess what? You're coming out with order in your mindset. You understand how to put from point A to point B to point C, because you're not going to skip the levels of growth in your own life anymore. You're going to embrace every experience with joy. Why? Because now you're a part of the higher learning. You're part of the people who embrace education within yourself, and you're going to embrace every situation to where, you know what? I may have made a mistake, but I'm not going to allow this mistake to dictate my future anymore. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to grow from it, and I'm going to celebrate it because I'm coming out on top.
I am not going to let my worst moments define my life. Instead, I'm going to choose every day. And so when we come back, we're going to talk about how to change your mindset from a place of feeling imprisoned and dictated to and controlled to a place of celebrating the freedoms that you do have and leveraging those. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, sweetheart, you got that blank piece of paper that I need?
Sure do. Right here.
Well, that's not a blank piece of paper.
It obviously is a blank piece of paper.
This is not a blank piece of paper. Why is it that you always give me something that's not what I want?
You know what, Ron? It's obviously blank.
I do not
don't know
want
what you're
this. This is
complaining
not
about.
what I wanted.
Oh, no matter what I do, it's always wrong. You
What are
find
you
fault in
talking
everything.
about?
It's obviously
This is
a blank
not
piece of paper.
blank.
I am sick and tired
Why
of
do you
arguing all
always
the time.
trip
It's
in
never
this?
good
You
enough.
never
I'm
listen to what I'm
tired
telling
of you.
you.
I'm done.
Just stop! Wow, what did you just witness? I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And together we have been working with tens of thousands of couples for the last 2 decades.
And we have been helping couples understand that nobody's right and nobody's wrong. They're just each seeing it from their own perspective and unable to bridge together.
So when's the last time you were in a discussion with your significant other or your spouse and you had a disagreement over something so small that turned into something so big?
So many of the couples we work with have this experience where they argue about something because they only see it from their own perspective.
So I'm looking at it from my vantage point, and guess what? Frankly, I only want to see it my way, because it's my way or the what? The highway.
Over time, what happens is these issues start to pile up and they create more and more distance between couples. And so now we're arguing about every small thing because we have to defend our perspective.
As we began arguing, it really was apparent whose side I was on. I wasn't on her side and she wasn't on my side. In fact, we were on opposite teams.
We became enemies, and what was more important for us was to be right than for us to actually understand each other. When couples do this, they continue to erode their relationship. What you need to do is get the issues out from between you, move them out in front of you, and remember that you're a team able to navigate through anything together by seeing all sides of the issue.
Now remember, there is nothing more important than us.
If you are sick and tired of being on opposite sides and arguing over every small thing, then this is exactly where you need to be.
Now it's time to introduce you to a program that's going to teach you how to resolve these issues.
In this dynamic program that's internationally recognized, you're going to learn how to resolve conflict, how to get on the same page and listen for understanding. Couple communication, which was written by Dr. Sherrod Miller and Dr. Phyllis Miller, will actually help you be on the same team and recognize the power of resolving conflict together.
One of the greatest tools that you're going to embrace is really coming to the understanding that what you've been doing is natural. But this is learned behavior, and we're about ready to take you to a next level on how to enhance your relationship.
Now, if you're sick and tired of having all of these petty issues come between you, if you are exhausted from every time that you have interaction with your spouse, it turns into drama, then this is where you want to be. You want to sign up for couple communication. You want to take this program together, and I guarantee you that you are going to love it.
Before I even came, I had controlling issues. I had problems with actually being able to talk to my fiance. And since I've been here and learned new experienced efforts, I can change my life now, and I can actually listen to her and know what to help her with.
Information that was given was really helpful. We'll be able to use it in our everyday life for our marriage, for our children, and everything else. So I really enjoyed this weekend.
It's helped me to be able to let down guards that I was not willing to let down, because now I see a change in him, and I see him, becoming a different person than he was. He's more excited about the whole project, and now we're thinking like, we want to be a part of something like this.
Stop telling yourself that tomorrow you're going to do better. Stop saying to yourself, tomorrow I'll find that program. Today's your opportunity to do something not only for yourself, but for all those around you.
In couple communication, you're going to learn a brand new process. This process is going to help you avoid ever fighting over petty stuff again. It's going to take you to a new level in your relationship as you learn how to listen for understanding, to clearly articulate and share from your own experience. You're going to get on the mats. You're going to have notepads. You're going to learn skills that you're going to be like, wow, if only I had known this at the beginning.
It's not too late. We are all on this journey. We are all on this continuous improvement plan. But guess what? You have to take the first step, and let today be that first step for you and your significant other.
If you're ready to like each other again and be on the same team, this is the program for you. Sign up today.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. Today we're talking about celebrating your freedom, celebrating your spectacular life that's now in front of you.
And we're also talking about how to overcome the attitude of feeling like you're being controlled, you're imprisoned in every area of your life. Because it's really easy to adopt that hopelessness, kind of boxed in attitude, like, oh, I have to go to work. I'm stuck at work. It's like a prison. I'm stuck in prison, an actual real prison with the bars. I can't make any choices and decisions. But that's a lie. It's an illusion. You have the choice. You have the choice on whether or not you're going to follow the rules. Every day you wake up and you decide, this is the expected standard of behavior. Am I going to do it, or am I going to do something else? What are the consequences?
Have you heard the saying that there are more people incarcerated outside than there are inside? And we find that to be true. We know a lot of people who have a lot of things, who have material wealth and all this stuff, but inside they're incarcerated mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Maybe not physically, right? But they just can't seem to get ahead in life in their relationships, with their kids or their jobs, their bosses, because something has got them incarcerated in here, right? And then we've also heard where actual ministries would go into the prisons to minister to the individuals, but come out more satisfied, more filled than when they went in. They went in to give, but they're coming out because they received. And that's a trueness of what you're experiencing, because you've come to a place of appreciation. When you get that apple from the chow hall, right? And that might be the apple you got for the week. We cherish that apple, right? In fact, I began eating the entire apple, core and all.
The core, yeah.
Right? Because we don't know when we're going to get another one. The pair of socks that we talked about at the beginning, right? The underwear, everything that we get, we fold it nice. You know what? I even see guys iron their sweat clothes, right? Because that's their dress clothes, right? They appreciate the little things we have in life. And we take that mindset, that attitude with us when we hit the streets. And then everything that is coming to us, everything that is brought taught to us, we don't take it for granted. We cherish it. We cherish one another and everything else. Spectacular freedom.
So the how. We want to talk to you about how. How do you actually embrace this kind of lifestyle? How do you change your mindset? And you know, it takes one to know one. We know what it's like to carry heaviness. We know what it's like to feel hopeless. We know what it's like to feel bitter and angry and just ask ourselves, well, why should we even try? And we also know what it's like to be irritated when other people are celebrating life. So the first thing that we're going to have you do is something that we did and we still do, and that is starting a gratitude journal. Every single day, writing down at least 20 things that you're grateful for. You're grateful for fill in the blank. 20 things every day.
Now, those 20 things might be the same 20 things you write for the whole week. That's okay. Write them down. And then you're going to see what happens is your priorities of what you're grateful for are going to shift. You might have number 1 for the first 3 days. All of a sudden, number 1 has become 5 and 5 has become 1. Or all the numbers will shift. And that's okay. The point of this exercise is to get you to understand, and you're confessing with your mouth and your mind, one accord, what am I grateful for? You can see it, and it will become contagious, and you will treat others according to the level of gratefulness you have about those things.
Absolutely. And the second thing we're going to have you do is create a dream board. So we hear all the times people say, okay, well, where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, across your lifetime? Well, we're going to bring it down. We want you to create a dream board initially once a month. Like, what's your dream to accomplish this month? Is it, you know what? I'm going to get up at this single time, the same time every single morning. You know what? I'm going to hit the gym for an hour every single day. Put a dream and choose at least 4 things that you say, wow, this is what I'd really like to accomplish. And after you have done that for 4 months, yes, that's a whole quarter of a year, 4 months, a new dream board. Then you're going to do one for an entire year, because you can't really dream across an entire year until you begin to shift your mindset. So do it for the 30 days, four times, 4 dream boards, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. And now you're ready to dream for a year.
Now, this dream board, you may have to go get some magazines. You may have to draw. You may have to do something. What are you pursuing? Your dreams in your life. While you're there in that place of isolation. In that isolation, you will grow. You will become a place of oasis. Your mind will expand. It will take you to places where you never thought possible. But now you have to become that individual that you see obtaining those things. You have to become that individual that you see accomplishing those goals. So what are you going to do to accomplish it? This is step number 3. Begin to work on you. Begin to change your vocabulary. You want to cuss and you want to hang out with people who don't respect you, don't respect their environment, don't respect themselves. You become where you're at. Begin to change and shift your identity by shifting who you're with.
Yeah, start analyzing it and really evaluating your relationships. If you're hanging out with a group of people that are always complaining, guess what? That's contagious too. And you're going to be complaining. You're going to be joining them in their dissatisfaction with where you are. Look for groups of people that are celebrating and are actually contributing to life around them, and begin to get involved in those groups.
So stay tuned. We're going to wrap all this up. We'll be right back. Welcome back to TYRO TV. Today we're talking about having a spectacular life in the midst of your freedom, right? Embracing it. And this is something that needs to be said over and over again, because practice does not make perfect. It makes permanent. So you got to practice this attitude every day, because this is not easy. There are so many distractions out there, so many things that would try to take away your joy. And even ourselves, we try to block our own 3-point. You have to put yourself in a place of discipline where, you know what, no matter what people are saying about you, no matter what you're hearing happening around you, it's not going to rob you of your joy or of your spectacular life.
So you can celebrate freedom, the freedom of choice that you have every day, the freedom to connect with people that you want to connect with, the freedom to learn, to grow, to influence life around you. No matter where you are, you enjoy those freedoms. You have a choice every day. Am I going to be a dredge and a value extractor, or am I going to be a value creator and build people up? And in doing that, you inspire other people, and then it becomes reciprocal.
You know, I don't want to be a drain in Cathy's life. I want to be that faucet that constantly pours joy into her, brings life to her.
Oh, yeah. And as you're my faucet, I'll be your fountain.
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
And so that means we're just spreading. This is so important because the more bitter and angry we are, the more irritated we are with people that are striving towards success. You know, Ron has an acronym called HATERS. You know, it takes one to know one, but a hater is having anger towards everyone reaching success. And so if you're a hater and you're sitting there saying, oh gosh, them again, I'm sick and tired of hearing them. That's a bunch of you know what. Well, the truth is that poison is inside of you. You're struggling to find your place. You're struggling to find the ability to celebrate your choice and the freedom in your life. So you're embracing bitterness instead. So I want to challenge you. Like if you're still feeling like that at the end of this episode, go back and rewatch it. Really hear what we're saying. We know where you're at because we've been there. And this is a choice and a decision you have to make to change your life.
Is it going to be easy? Of course not, because practice makes permanent. You got to practice a new way of thinking, a new walk, a new talk. And sometimes you got to have courageous conversations with the individuals around you. You might have to change your atmosphere in order to change your attitude. And that means the people around you, if they're constantly dragging you down, get out of them. Yeah. Get out of that place because they're not your friends. People who aren't celebrating your successes, people who aren't celebrating your freedom you have mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, they're going to constantly keep you incarcerated in all four angles of your life. So without further ado,
we want to thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey towards celebrating freedom.
So until next time, always remember that we are rooting for you.